taking advantage of those bonuses are so key. Saving money on the lines is so key of how not to lose all your money on betting on NFL this year. Make it fun for yourself. I mean, if you break even at the end of the year, you got what, 48 hours of 100 hours of entertainment for free that you got a legitimate sweat on. We're going to try to help you win, but mainly we're going to try to make sure that you don't have to redeposit as the season goes along, especially if you're taking this as an entertainment expense.
Mayo experience.
Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Mayo experience. Experience.
Welcome to the Pat Mayo Experience, presented by Underdog. NFL is starting, which means we need to get into an in-depth discussion about how to actually bet on football and not lose all of your money. This isn't a watch this show and you're guaranteed to win lots of money betting on football show. I wish that was the case, but it's not. But how do you mitigate your losses? Mitigating your losses is actually going to be the best way to actually try to turn a profit betting on football this NFL season. And frankly, any NFL season, any sport. To break this down with me is Ryan Noonan from BetSperts.com and Connor Allen from BetSperts.com as well. Rob Pizzola has joined me on this show for each of the past 4 years. You can check out last year's in the description of this. But Connor, I want to start with you. Do you think that setting an expectation about how good you can actually be at betting at football is probably the best place to start?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I don't think you should be under the delusion that you're going to come out and win, 65, 70% of your bets. Even 60% of your bets, I think, is a lofty expectation, especially in today's day and age of betting. So, yeah, I think come in and you should be happy making a profit. Any kind of profit you should be happy with. And then from there, I think is you can set expectations realistically.
Yeah, Noonan, I try to come into listen, I cover betting full time. I am not a professional gambler, but I do enjoy to bet, depending on what the sport is. I love betting on football. Love betting on golf. Anyone who watches this network knows that. And we're going to be giving out plays the entire time. But I am doing this for entertainment. I'm trying to win. That doesn't mean I'm going to win at doing this. So I think that especially when you see pick sellers or anyone trying to give you advice, just know that 98% of people lose on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to Connor's point, 60%, if you are profitable at all, you need to understand that you are in a very small subset. You are the minority. And, we are with you there, Pat. We are in the betting space. So something that Connor and I do. It is something that is supplemental to what we do. We, are not professional bettors, but at the same time, we are kind of toe the line of what would, I guess, be considered pick sellers. We have a package at 4 for 4 that includes our betting picks that I know people subscribe just for that. So the authenticity piece of it is really important. The transparency part, we track everything publicly. We share. We don't promise winners, but we try to, all of our picks come with write-ups. We're really trying to help people, teach them to fish kind of situation where you start to understand what we're looking for statistically and some of those things. We're really not trying to, be anything that we're not. So yes, that's a piece of it. But if you are, you have more money in the accounts at the end of the year than you did the start of the year, you need to have realistic expectations. That's a win.
So one of the big things that people can do, and listen, when I go off my gut and, doing a little bit of research, making some plays, I've had some success. I've had some disasters when it comes to that. The one thing that's actually really helped me out are a lot of the modeling tools that have come out, but it's not going to be for everyone. Listen, right now, if you go to 4for4.com/Mayo, you get 25% off the Sharp Stack tool. It has the best EV plays, the best pick'em plays, just calculated, just versus the odds. Here's the percentage chance that they would have to win based off projections. And here's going to be the EV on each of those bets. It also has an ARB, you can ARB everything. You can play the middle and maybe you can guarantee your profit some way. Using those tools is going to be very effective in actually trying to be profitable during the NFL season or for any sport, really. And the Sharp Stack tool has all of it. So 4for4.com/Mayo will get you 25% off. Problem is, Noonan, it's expensive. So if you're someone who bets $10 a game, this isn't going to be for you. But if you bet $100, $500 per game, it's absolutely something you're going to need.
Yeah. And, we're trying to get an understanding of really what that dynamic is within our subscriber base to get an understanding of, when we're coming to market with this, where we should price it. There are competitors in the space we feel really good about the quality of our product and how it stands up. And then we actually priced it under that as well. So, for anyone that was considering it, you're right, Pat, it's probably not for any size better. But it does also, and again, kind of unique compared to anyone else in the space. It comes with everything at 4-4. So it does come with the picks package that involves all my defensive stuff, all of Connor's bad quarterback unders, and all the stuff that he loves to put out, and then all of our fantasy stuff as well. So like if you are playing DFS, you're playing season long, you're playing high stakes fantasy, that is all covered with the Sharp Stack subscription as well.
Yeah, you can see it up on the screen right now. So, Connor, I just wanted to ask you about that sort of same thing. Like, using this tool has been highly profitable for me over the summer. I use it to play WNBA props every single day. And I'm excited for what it's going to do for the NFL for me. But I guess this goes back to setting your expectation at the same time, too. Like, again, if you're not going to be betting big enough to cover the sub, obviously you're not going to get the sub. But you do get a week free with it, right? If you want to try it out.
Yeah, 7-day free trial. And I think it's fun because there's two ways to analyze betting, and I think this goes on to expectations as well. There's a top-down look, which is what this is. So the EV tool takes sharp markets and leverages it against weaker markets and looks at the sharp books. And you think about being able to understand where all the best bettors in the world are betting and how and what that looks like, and then using that against other books. I think that's kind of the basis of this tool. But then there's also originating and betting there. So there's both sides of that. Both are fun. Both have their own merits. You can easily pump out 30, 40 bets in a couple of minutes. I'm looking forward to doing that together this NFL season because I think it'll be a good time. Just rip through some bets. You don't even need to know what you're betting on because that you're tailing the sharps basically.
Yeah, and you're doing everything just based off projections. And listen, there are some sort of markets I don't get, and we'll get into that a little bit more. You can always hit the time codes for this show to jump through. But if you do want to get the free week and the 25% off all the packages, just hit the description 4for4.com/Mayo. We'll get that for you. Noonan, Connor, and I will be doing a show every single Monday where we'll be breaking down what happened on the weekend and looking forward to playing some of these bets. Maybe we'll go me versus Noonan versus Connor versus the Sharp Stack app and see who ends up on top towards the end of the year just for Monday Night Football. So I'd highly encourage everyone to go check that out. But at the same time, I do want to funnel this back to expectations again, Connor, is that are you trying? Listen, everyone's trying to win when they make an NFL bet. I know that. I'm trying to, I assume every bet that I make is going to win. Turns out in reality, that's not the case. But when you're trying to win money at the end of the year, you have to think to yourself, am I going to play this type of bet or this type of bet? If you are just firing 10 leg same game parlays for $10, just consider that an entertainment cost of $10. You're going to lose.
Yeah. And look, like parlays are fun. I'm not going to say that I don't bet parlays.
I love playing them. They're great. They are, if it costs you, your wife, kids, parking, food to go to a movie on a Saturday afternoon, and that costs you $100, you can fire a $25 parlay and call it the same price as a movie. In fact, it lasts longer than a movie, unless you play unders and the over hits on the first one.
Well, so I want to give Connor credit. We've been doing this together for about 8 years now. He would never admit that on camera, even that he likes to bet parlays.
This is the first,
so there is some personal growth and acceptance there. So good for you, Connor.
I know, and it's like the parlays. I mean, they give you life, but I round robin the unders. That's kind of my new thing is like you can round robin, parlay all the unders. And then when they all hit, it feels great. But yeah, I mean, set your expectations, mix in straight bets, unders you're putting a lot more on with some alts, with some parlays. That way you have kind of like the bankroll building -110s, unders, and maybe some overs with some long shots that are going to get you sweating like that. In my mind, is the ideal mix.
And Noonan, that's the entertainment part that I'm talking about. I love making a 6-game same game prop parlay, or hell, I'll just go to Underdog. Go to Underdog, play 6 pick'em plays, over unders, whatever it might be. I'm going to win like 40 times my money if it hits during the early slate, and then when that doesn't win, I'm going to fire again at the afternoon slate because that's fun for me. And I have the disposable income to be able to do that. If you don't, and you're really trying to turn a profit on this, just don't get sucked into Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever it might be that like, oh yeah, this guy's playing same game parlays every week.
Yeah, he's not printing. He's producing content and good for them, and not here to hate on any of that, but to each their own, and to your point, do the work. I don't know. I'm a little older, Pat. I don't know what the kids are drinking at the club these days. if you're drinking Jaeger bombs or whatnot, mix in a water is basically what we're saying, right? Like if you are just wanting to, fire the parlays all the time, the 3-leg parlay, I don't know, maybe like join 4 for 4. We'll help you stake those bets appropriately, and you bet all of them individually as well. So that way you can still maybe come out a little bit more on top than if you hit, if you're the king of, I always hit 2 or 3. It's always that last leg. It's like, brother, you're not alone. There's a lot of screenshots have gone to die with one leg missing. If you went 9-1 on your 10-leg parlay, there's a different way to bet that could probably sustain you a little bit longer than just the parlays.
There's also this like lotto parlay epidemic going on right now that like, I don't know if you guys have seen this on Twitter, but there's like someone will hit a lotto parlay and everyone will start tailing this person. It'll be like 6 home run bets in a row, $10 to win, 70 grand or something like that. And this person will blow up. And the reality is, and then people like press them to try and be like, oh, well, are you up or down lifetime? And these people don't show their net, pot plus or minus. So just, be careful out there. It might look good on one slip, but they're probably firing a bunch of those every day. And I don't know how profitable they are actually.
If someone ends up hitting a like 7,000 to 1 anytime touchdown or 2 touchdown type parlay, chances are that's never going to happen again.
No shot. I mean, it's like, well, and if they do it again, like how many do you think they're betting? Like if I bet enough touchdown parlay, like first touchdown parlay things, I'm going to eventually hit one and then I can probably promote it. But like, how many am I betting? How much am I losing to get there? And that's like, it's almost like a marketing cost for these people. But the people that are on, Instagram, Twitter, they don't really know that. They just see the big win.
Yeah. So I think that's the part one of this, trying to get into it, is just set your expectations that are based in reality that you're probably not going to win doing this. So a lot of this show, Noonan, what I want to do is talk about how not to lose your entire bankroll almost immediately. And let's start with bankroll and kind of describe to people what I'm talking about when I say that, because there are some people who are going, I have friends who do this and they're like, oh yeah, my bankroll for the year is $500, and they bet all 500 of those dollars in week 1 and they'll return like 100. What do? They invest another 400 in week 2 and they bet $500 again. So realistically, their bankroll isn't really 500. It's probably like 10,000.
Yeah, 500 a week. Yeah, I mean, understanding how to, stake, size your bets and track everything, right? I referenced us tracking and having third-party tracking for all the bets that we are putting out publicly. But I do think even if you are just doing your thing solo, you're just firing parlays. You're firing, 3-leggers on underdog. Still track it. Get a sense of like, bet types that are working for you. Get an understanding of, where you started and where you're working towards. I think that checks and balance in season, I do think, is a nice indicator. And then you should be thinking about your percentage of bankroll. So it is something you want to try to be honest with yourself heading into the season to get an understanding of what that number is. So that should help you size your bets so you can sustain into week 6. Just look, especially if you are a parlay bro, knowing that that's not going to hit at a high sustainable rate, you have to be able to survive those 5-6 weeks. Look, Pat, we bet outright golf bets all the time, right? So we know that sometimes we're going to be in Siberia, and you have to be able to understand what happens when I go 7-8 weeks without a winner. Am I staking these appropriately so that I am not having to redeposit, right? The goal should never be to redeposit. So, understanding how these bets need to be sized is super duper important.
Connor, you can track your bets through the SharpStack app as well, right?
Yep, absolutely. Once you bet them, you click the, track your bet, and then it pops up with your live EV, live CLV, everything that way as well. So yeah, a fun little addition there too.
Yeah, and understanding the size of your bets and what you're betting on. Like just to kind of break this down, and this is more of a beginner thing, like if people are just trying to get into this and trying to understand what's going on. So if, let's say you have a -150 bet, you're betting a money line in the NFL, I don't even know what that would be for week 1. I could probably bring it up right now and take a look at it when I click on the odds screen for NFL and see what's going on, if there's a -150 favorite in terms of money line. But you have to bet $150 to win 100. Now, obviously, when you have a -150, -200, betting 200 to win 100, you have to allocate your resources of your bankroll, Connor, much differently than if you're betting on a 20-1 parlay. But so many people I see, myself sometimes included in that, like I can tell you what it is to actually put it into practice. I'll bet $100 on that, or I'll bet $200 on that to win 100, but then I'll bet $50 on the 40-1 to try to win a boatload of money. That's what I do. And I know I'm not alone in that.
And no, not at all. And that's, I think, common practice, but it makes it tough to sustain a bankroll. Like you said at the top, you should probably establish a bankroll right off the top. Maybe it's 5K, 10K, whatever it's going to be, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then you're only betting a percentage of that, a low percentage of that for every bet. And you create a unit size essentially. So what we do is, it'd be, I don't know, X percent of your bankroll. Say it's 10,000. If you want it, it should be between 3 to 5%. So you're talking about $300 to $500 per play, and go from there. But then again, that's if your bankroll is 10,000. If it's 1,000, it's 30 to $50. Like that should be your unit for most straight plays or like favored plays, basically, and just accordingly. For parlays, it should be like 0.2 units or like 0.1 units on those things. Like that's how it should balance out. It shouldn't be the same, like to your point.
Ryan, this is probably the worst way. It's probably the best way to think about it, but it sounds so sad when you say it out loud. My bankroll I allocate it by NFL season, golf season, betting versus DFS. I just did this exact same show based on daily fantasy strategy. So for like DraftKings and FanDuel, if you're playing in those sorts of tournaments with two of the best players in the world, Tambo and John. John's over at 4 for 4 right now. And like John's a top 10 ranked player in the world in almost every single sport as it pertains to daily fantasy. I asked him how many weeks a year does he win at NFL to be one of these players. He's like, maybe 3 of 18.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, the DFS side of things and surviving that. I mean, again, another piece, bankroll management, so important, right? They are playing, just those 150 max lottos, and you have to be able to really survive and know that you have an edge week in, week out, and then you really only need to hit 1, 2, 3 a year to be, green for the end of the season. So yeah, it doesn't really matter what you're doing in the football speculation space, golf speculation space. You need to be really, really cognizant of bankroll. Another part of it too, in the EV tool, if you go into your settings, you can actually put in your bankroll, and then in the Kelly section, it's going to actually tell you based off of the EV and the growth rate of that bet, what you should bet it at. So being honest to yourself at the start is actually going to help you use the tool in a better way as well.
Yeah, and the part that I was saying that sounds sad to say out loud is I go into each of these seasons and say, how much money am I willing to lose? What is that number? And that will be my bankroll.
That's a great way to do it, right? Again, just being transparent with yourself and not having to be in a spot where you're in week 5, week 6, and you're chasing because things went poorly. You're set up to, again, survive the next day.
Connor, how do you approach that? Let's say you have a bad week. It's funny that we're just dwelling on the negatives with this. I really wish I could tell you, like, here's how you win, and everyone's going to win, but it's not going to work out that way. But if you have a bad week 1 or 2, the move would be to press, to chase those losses right away. But that's absolutely not the way. That's just going to dig you a deeper hole, isn't it?
Yeah, you should stay consistent with what you're betting. You should trust the process if you feel like you have an edge. So, again, for us, it's like we release like 10 to 20 props a week. I stay with that. Like I'm not putting out 30 props. I'm not upping my unit size to 2 units per play. No chasing involved. And I think you should just keep looking for those random edges that will pop up. Maybe a mistake line. Maybe it's, some book hasn't adjusted for some injury thing. And that's, I think, part of what, we can do at Sharp Stack is like it like kind of automatically finds that with the sharp books moving, the weak books not, but also just in general, like, there's already been some mistakes for week 1, to be honest. And I think it's going to be a good week 1 based on what we've got down on already.
For over a century, Johnnie Walker has shared its bold spirit with the game of golf. Now, crafted with Devereux Golf, Johnnie Walker introduces the Johnnie Walker Blue Label-inspired Sunday Golf Bag, elevating the game with sleek design, blue label hues, and refined gold accents. Celebrate your hole-in-one with a premium Sunday bag crafted by Devereux Golf. Submit proof of your achievement to johnniewalker.com/blue-in-1. Please drink responsibly. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Part of my wellness routine this year has been focus more on family and focus more on Pat Mayo. So I've been doing fewer shows, upping the exercise, eating better. If you have kids, it's just daily, nonstop grinding every single day. Couple that with workplace stress, and it's a bit difficult. Workplace stress right now is one of the top causes of declining mental health, with 61% of the global workforce experiencing a higher than normal amount of stress. So maybe BetterHelp is exactly what you need to do. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you feel anything going on with you, You need to go to betterhelp.com/PatMayo right now. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Unwind from work with BetterHelp. My listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/PatMayo. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/PatMayo. Are you ready for some football? If not, Chubby's is ready to help you with their NFL collection. Whether you're tailgating, grilling, riding the highs and lows from the game from your couch, Chubby's has officially licensed NFL gear to keep you looking like an ultimate fanatic. Now, you know, for me, I just really personally love Chubby's because they come in 3 different lengths, which are perfect for me. I like to show a lot of leg, and I'm not a super tall guy. So if I end up getting a small, they come out below my knees, and I look like I'm trying to be Eminem from the late 90s, which is not really the look that I'm going for here. And they have some bold designs for the NFL, but I like my monochromatic shorts when I'm going out. Show off some nice tan, some nice legs, and boom, we are looking good out there. For a limited time, use my exclusive code MAYO for $10 off at chubbyshorts.com/Mayo. Yes, that includes the NFL collection. Let the thighs out and the good times roll. I do have a few ways, Noonan, that you can lock in, not necessarily profit, but to get extra money in your account that you didn't have to pay for. I know it sounds crazy to think about this, but if you are a new player, books will give you money to join their sports books, and people do not properly take advantage of this.
Yeah, I mean, we're a few years removed from what it felt like the wild, wild west in terms of sign-up bonuses and stuff, but like still, like there are opportunities to maximize and take advantage of that. And if you're not, it is something that you're leaving on the ground floor. And again, it's an opportunity that dries up, right? You're only new to the book one time. So, you know, you really want to take advantage of it when it's there. There are, I think, some opportunities to, you know, size those bets in a different way than you would your normal bet, because again, it is kind of a free roll. But yeah, they 1,000% take advantage, look for opportunities, sign up bonuses, you know, just bonuses in the app, even when you've already been there. You know, some books are better than others in terms of, you know, their profit boosts and understanding, is there actually an edge to the like pre-made boost that's there? Or is it just, you know, a marketing tool that allows you to see, you know, what they're really trying to force you down to? But yeah, take advantage of boosts, take advantage of sign-up bonuses. Some of those things dry up, and when they're gone, they're gone.
Even as someone who has, like, I don't even know, I consider myself to have almost every single book. There's still different kinds of books that have like different promo bonuses and things like that you can take advantage of. So even this NFL season, I think I signed up like 3 more. So you can max the deposit match, or like, I don't know, that sometimes they have a crazy risk-free you know, bet as well. So there's a lot of different ways you can get down, and especially nowadays with a lot of, I don't know, I would say gray area, you know, in the sports betting space. Take advantage of it. As long as you're able to get your money out, like, blast them, take them for what they're worth.
So here are 2 right away that you can do. So code Mayo at Underdog right now. It's like a double, triple bonus at this point. So if you play if you're brand new and you sign up with code Mayo, you play a $5 fantasy entry. Win or lose, they'll just give you $50 more to play with. They also have a deposit bonus of up to $1,000, which you can take advantage of and get more free money that way. Additionally, they're giving you a free pick for the very first game of the year. That's an auto winner that you just have to find one other thing to put with it. So Noonan, that's a triple boost at Underdog if you use code Mayo right now. So if you're thinking about doing it, and I find a lot of people either just want to bet money lines or they want to go in on player props, whatever it might be, that this is kind of the perfect thing to do. And then you just have all this extra money to fire at.
I think we should be open to finding ways to supplement what we're already doing. So, you know, the sharp stack piece is, as Connor mentioned, the top-down approach and a way to leverage unique markets. And I was with you, Pat, grinding some WNBA stuff. It's not a sport that I watch. It's not a sport that I follow. But at the same time, I feel silly to pass up an edge, right? So there's going to be markets where you originate. It's like one of the first markets you look to every week. It's something you kind of feel comfortable betting in that space. But being open to finding different ways, you know, if you like to bet sides and totals, like, you're probably thinking about things on a player level more than you think. So you should at least be, whether it's finding a service like we have, finding a tool like SharpStack, finding a different way in a different avenue to help supplement the stuff that you like to originate or like to really bet on. So yeah, you're foolish if you have not taken advantage of code Mayo at Underdog at this point. And I feel like triple bonus, you said? I mean, that's kind of a free way to start bankroll building at week 1.
And it alleviates some of the pressure on winning immediately out of the gate, doesn't it, Connor?
Yeah, I mean, you should 3 of these, do like 2 or 3 of these bonuses, and then you basically have your bankroll can be, much higher to start. You don't have to win right away. Maybe you put in an extra parlay that you weren't planning on, that you didn't allocate in your bankroll. You can get a little crazy, but not recommended. Obviously, dial in on getting the bankroll right, getting the unit size right, and like you don't have to win as much right off the bat because you're playing with house money for the first, I don't know, couple weeks at least.
And if you're in Canada outside of Ontario right now and you happen to be watching the show, you can go to coolbet.com and there's a $200 deposit bonus up there as well. You can find all that info in the description right now, or you can just scan the QR that's on the screen. And if you get in before, I believe it's Labor Day, if you're watching this before Labor Day, or maybe even the 7th of September, you win a free trip to Cabot as well, a free golf experience for you and a friend, your wife, whoever it might be. But again, it's free money that they're giving you. They want you to come on and make some bets. Oh, they're going to give you money to do it. If you're not taking advantage of that, it just seems silly. And Connor, you mentioned the risk-free bets. I've always found this one really intriguing. That if a book does give you, they're like, hey, thanks for playing. And then all of a sudden you go to the lobby and underneath your account, you see that you have like a $250 free bet. Now, it's not money you can withdraw. You have to make that as a bet. I tend to go like YOLO on those. It is a risk-free bet. I'm going to try to maximize it. I'm not going to try to play something that's minus 200 to get $100 back.
No, I mean, this is the time you got to go for it. I think that this is the time to send it. Okay. Now I think that there's a limit to that though. Like you still probably want to try and win it. So like I found like the plus 300, maybe 10 to 1 range is like at least possible to hit. Like anything more than that, you're probably getting a little crazy. And if it's a risk-free bet, like it's probably pretty high stakes. You don't need to go like, a 50, 100 to 1 kind of, parlay there. But yeah, I mean, the optimal way to play those legit is to do a plus money kind of like plus 400, plus 500 type of bet. And then if you lose, you take the risk-free aspect and put it on something normal that you have a regular shot to win. So you're giving yourself a chance to win something big. And then if not, then you go back and use it on something that's a little bit more, I don't know, tame, I would say, in terms of risk, maybe a minus 110.
It's funny, Noonan, to look at it. I know a lot of people during golf season will just use that risk-free bet on an outright golf winner at like 60 to 1.
I was about to say that it sounds like we should just use free bets on Scotty in the futures market because it's kind of our living price range, like plus 350, 5 to 1. But yeah, in terms of like you want to go way down the board and bang Michael Thor Bjornsson, it's 85 to 1. It's probably not the best use of a free bet. You should probably be smarter, like Connor said. And I think it's a good rule of thumb. You do want to be a little bit aggressive because you do want to really maximize the outcome that comes with the freebie. But at the same time, you don't want to blow the freebie and not give yourself a chance. So yeah, staying in that like 3, even 3 to 5 range, I think is probably a pretty good rule of thumb.
Yeah, so like a 3-leg player prop parlay.
Perfect.
Yeah,
and we'll start talking about some of how sharp do you find our NFL markets? Are they the sharpest lines in terms of point spreads, money lines, and totals of any sport?
Yes. NFL closing lines definitely are. I mean, that's like, if you are waking up on Sunday and you're betting into, I don't know, like Bears +7 or whatever, like, to start, just know that you are very likely donating. Like that's like, you don't have an edge. Like you're definitely anything that you think about the game is almost certainly baked into the market. But there are other ways to get edges, whether it's betting early in sides and totals, whether it's betting prop markets, whether it's betting tackles like Noonan. The more niche you can get, the better. So, but yeah, if you're betting into the big markets, like, I mean, there are millions and millions of dollars in like sophisticated betting syndicates and trading companies that are involved in these markets that are setting the line to be very, very sharp and liquid. So, I mean, it can be fun, like if you're viewing it as entertainment costs, but you are almost certainly not going to win long-term betting that.
I think that's the point to make. It's not like you're going to lose, Noonan, betting on Sunday morning every single time, but essentially what you're doing is that the price of that line or that total has been bet into place all week with all the information we have, and they're still charging you minus 110 or minus 115 to bet it. So you're essentially flipping a coin, but you only get $85 back off 100.
Yeah, what Connor said is absolutely correct, right? You're not actually, well, I guess you're not necessarily donating, to your point, Pat. You can still win, but you have to understand that you do not have an edge. The price is you would have to call it correct. Now, again, that doesn't mean that that's actually how the outcome of the game is going to go. Again, you could still win those bets, but you have to be thinking smarter because, again, there's nothing more liquid, that's on a Sunday morning, even Saturday evening, especially if you're betting sides and totals. So the prop market is probably a little bit softer in terms of, being able to get down and stake full, matching what you would put on the side and totals a little bit harder to do. But again, we've been doing this for a long time. I realize that even that caveat is really for like the 1% of the 1%. Like there are just so few people that are running into, limits, especially on size and totals. So yeah, I get those texts all the time. I'm sure you guys do as well. You got your boys, they wake up Sunday morning, they're setting their fantasy lineups like, hey, what do I got to bet today? It's like, text me on Wednesday. Like you are really, really, really late. So I can't actually stand behind and give you a side or a total on, Sunday morning, 2 hours before kick. You're expecting me, who does this for a living, to win for you. And I don't have an edge on Sunday morning at 10 a.m. So come back. Let's try to talk about it a few days in advance because, I want to be able to give you really good advice. So, if you want it, shits and giggles, you're going to be watching the game with your boys. You just want to have a sweat. I get it. Get down on a little bit of something, but not trying to think that you have an edge and you're going to continuously beat that market long term. You're going to find out pretty quickly that it's not the case.
And it's not just winning like, hey, I won 51% of the time, I'm a winner. Because of I think that's the thing that people fail to realize with this. Well, what is the number right now? If everything was minus 110, Connor, how often would you have to win? 54% just to break even?
It's 52 and a half. And then so 53 obviously is like profitable point, 0.5%. Like that's, are you really going out here to grind out 0.5%? Like, again, we started at the top of the show. Profitable is good. So yeah, that's great. But yeah, 52 and a half, 53%. And like we said, you're basically flipping a coin. So it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell for sure.
And this is why playing the number is so important, that most of these bettors, obviously they're playing the teams, the matchups against each other, but really what they're looking for is the price sensitivity. And what I mean by that is what's the VIG attached to a lot of these numbers. And we've talked about buying points in the past. Has buying points ever been a good idea? Even if it wins, because it's going to win sometimes, it's going to save you. But is it ever a good idea, Connor?
I'm pretty sure the math says no. Even like, you think, oh, well, I'm going to buy from 3 to 2.5 or like 7.5 to 7. So like you're buying through, what we call it like a key number essentially in the NFL. I'm pretty sure the math doesn't bear out. Now, that being said, there are certain sites that if the price could make sense. So if you're only paying a couple cents to buy down, that it's possible. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but generally buying points is a bad idea.
All right, so I'm going to bring up Sharp Stack back onto the screen just for 1 second here. Hopefully this works. And Jared, you can work on this as we're going through it to see if we can bring up just that part. Yeah, make this large for us. So here's just a prime example of what I'm talking about and why you really do want to play the number. And the good thing about the Sharp Stack tool is that it will highlight it in green for you where the best number actually is versus whatever the price is. So you can see the Cowboys-Eagles game, the opening game of the year. And we're just looking at totals. So the total is either going to be 47 or 47.5, depending on where you're looking as it stands right now. Generally speaking, especially with Micah Parsons being traded from the Cowboys, not that they were expecting him to play anyway, but that number is probably going to go up. People love betting overs. There's generally value on unders with all of this, but just take a look at some of these different numbers here. So you have DraftKings Sportsbook has 47.5. If you want to play the over on that, it's minus 102. And then Noonan, if you go to Circa, for example, it's minus 110 to play the same number. You have now saved 8 cents just by, and I know that 8 cents doesn't sound like a lot, but can you explain to people why that is a huge difference?
Well, again, you're not betting one bet in the week, and you're also not betting, one time for the year, right? We're doing this for 22 weeks. So over the course of time, and Connor's talking about being profitable, where 52.4% is break even, 53% is profitable. Like we have to watch all of the edges that we have, right? So we're trying to grind niche markets and do all sorts of different things and, use EV tools like for the entire reason to grind any edge possible. So we'd be really silly to just be like, well, I got more money in DraftKings. I like the aesthetics of opening up that sports book. I'm going to give them my action. Well, you know what? You better make sure that that's the best price because over time, we're trying to find any edge that we can. If that's a $200, to win $200 bet, that's $16. That adds up pretty quickly over the course of 1 week of the season, 18, 22 weeks of the year. So making sure that you're getting the best of the number is absolutely crucial and really, really, really important. Don't take it for granted.
Yeah, Connor, I guess I want to add on to that. Like, this is how you mitigate losses right here. This is how you make up for losing bets, is by winning bets that are actually worth more money just because you played at the right place.
And think about like like the example you gave, 8 cents, like 8 cents every time you bet, right? Like if you're putting down $100, like you're basically just making $8 every single time you bet, or like saving yourself $8, every single time you bet. So think again, one bet, sure, doesn't matter, but 50 bets, talking about, four units worth of stuff that you've basically saved or made extra, depending on your risk style there. So like that obviously adds up over the course of, I know you guys aren't just betting one bet, or, anyone listening to this is like, one bet a week. You guys are betting hundreds of stuff. So like you got to get the best price.
So just to even bring that back a little bit, think about in your day-to-day life, what you will go out of your way to save money on. You'll go to the supermarket and you'll buy the stuff that's on a deal because you'll save 47 cents per pound on chicken because you're buying 5 pounds. Hey, I just saved myself $2.50. Great. It's fantastic. But when it comes to betting, for whatever reason, people refuse to do it because, I had to scan my ID at a different book, but you've already done it at what book? What's the difference at that point?
Yeah, and then open up the bonus. I mean, then get a bonus for it too. So it's like
Yeah.
both. Like you get a bonus, you get a better price, have action at all the books. Like it's a win-win-win. Just and if you want to withdraw and deposit and keep doing that, like over at each book, I mean, do it. Like it's it doesn't take that long to do.
And it just makes it so much easier on ourselves too. Like when we take a look, if we Jared, bring back up Sharp Stack for a second, and we'll take a look at it. And you can just kind of see like across the board, this makes it so easy, and it has basically every possible book that you could ever want to play at. So I'm not saying you need to go sign up for all 12 of the books that are on the screen, although doing it through the app makes it super easy. But even if you just have like the basic big ones. So even when I was talking about that 47.5 earlier, if you did want to go over, ESPN Bet actually has it at even money. So plus 100 even money, you have a 50-50 shot on that bet. You bet 100, you get 100 back. So you've saved 10 cents off one of the other overs that you could have possibly bet at Bet Rivers, for example. You're now saving $10 for every $100 that you bet. So even if you just went with all the big ones, you had DraftKings, FanDuel, Bet365, ESPN Bet, and BetMGM. You just had those 5. You're going to find huge price discrepancies between all of these places on exactly the same bet every single time. And that's probably the easiest way, Noonan, to navigate the NFL, which we've already stated has the sharpest lines possible. Just if you can save yourself the money that way, for every 10 bets you make, if you can save 10 cents, then you're going to have a free bet, basically.
And the edge becomes greater in the prop market. So side to totals is probably the bands in which, the distribution of, the total and the spread are probably a little bit tighter because the liquidity of the market. But when you get into the prop market, in terms of how these books are originating their lines, some are copying from each other. Some are copying from a single source, but you will find some originators that have, a different number. And sometimes that could be both price and actual number, right? When you're in the prop market, you're talking about 3 yards or 10 yards, whatever it is, in terms of what the bet is. All those things matter too. So using an odd screen like this is super clutch to be able to have one look, to be able to see, okay, I want to have it and be able to bet it at the best price. So I need to take it over to Caesars this time, or it's a significantly better number than FanDuel was. So being able to have the optionality is really important. So yeah, you don't necessarily need to have all 12, but like if you have a bankroll that can be moved around, whether you're using some sort of payment service, like a Venmo or PayPal, where you can kind of flush things in and out. I need to move things real quick. If you use those a couple times, they can actually move the money for you pretty quick, where you need to, hey, I need to jump books. And I need more money over on Caesars because I need to get down on these plays. They have the best number there. So being able to move things from book to book is something you could do as well.
And Connor, I'd like to say that I'm not guilty of doing this because I have the books that I prefer to play all the time, where I have more money on one. The more money I have on a book at any given time, the more likely I am to open up that one first. And if I see something I like, it's like dopamine. I'm like, oh, I'm in on that, without actually going through the process. This is why the tool has been helping me so much this summer, is that it's allowed me to look there first rather than just jump on a book and maybe bet into the absolute worst number on the market.
Yeah, and I pull it up on my phone too. So like to your point, like even if I'm out like at a bar, just like doing something, you see like the best odds section. So it'll be like, oh, okay, I can just scroll through easily and just see the best odds section and scroll through to like the different books. So yeah, it saves you money, helps you out long term. And like Noonan said for the props too, like we got Dak Prescott at 246 on DraftKings, 243 on FanDuel. Like you're saving yourself 242 on Bet Rivers. Like this is like there's so many different options here of like 4 yards doesn't sound like a lot, but the same juice, like why would you not get that? The amount of times that these bets will land like a couple yards short is pretty crazy.
And even to think about something like a running back rushing prop. Let's say let's see, Nick Chubb. Let's say he looks great in week 1. It's like, oh, Nick Chubb is back. And he opens at 69.5 for the over. And you could have bet that on Thursday when the prop actually opened. And then by the time it gets to Sunday, it's 75. You're like, well, he's still going to smash that. He's going to go off in this game. What the hell's the difference between 5.5 yards? 5.5 yards is 8% of that entire total. Like that's a huge discrepancy in that number. So being able to see when it comes up early, identify the bets that you like. Again, this is why you just don't bet on. I mean, it's not you don't bet on Sundays. People are most obviously the highest volume day of the week is going to be Sunday morning. But if you can just get yourself out of that mindset, you're going to be far more profitable. Even to think back, like the Sharp Stack app is after the 4for4.com/Mayo, you get your 25% discount on it, right? If you're someone who's going to be a high volume player, let's say you bet $500 a week and you can save, $5 to $8 on every single bet that you're making, by the end of the year, it's almost like it paid for itself if you find the best lines.
Yeah, that's easy. I mean, that's just finding the best lines too, because there's all this other stuff too. You could guarantee yourself money with arbitrage stuff. EV Tool, you can pump out like a million bets, on any random derivative market. They got like first quarter lines, college football stuff. I got a Haynes King under 1.5 passing touchdowns at Hard Rock. That's minus 110 there and minus 150, I think, at Pinnacle right now, something like that. So like you can just catch them half asleep here and bet on a bunch of other stuff that'll sustain whatever the monthly cost is.
What are the non-sharp markets? Spreads and totals, money lines, that's what everyone wants to play. Those are the sharpest. Those are the ones that get beaten to place. But Noonan, you have had a tremendous amount of success over, I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I've been tailing you for now 3 years on individual player tackle props. Like no one's playing these markets, but these are the markets you actually do want to play.
Yeah, there was no one doing it. That was part of it. Connor and I were just talking about bets early in the season. It's been 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. And it was like there's just tabs on the sports books that we're not even like exploring, right? And then like they're putting up a bunch of markets every week, and like I don't see anyone talking about this. And there's old school IDP fantasy bros. No offense if you play IDP fantasy, you're my people now. I get it. They're not looking to leverage these markets. They're looking to grind their long-term dynasty IDP league and beat their buddies. So I don't think anyone was really doing thoughtful projections. And I thought it was an opportunity and has been lucrative and has really turned into like the thing I look forward to the most. I love betting golf outrights and I love betting on defensive player props. So sacks, tackles, because I feel like there's no way possible that a book like DraftKings or Caesars can put out the number of markets that they put out, even just for the NFL, and that be thoughtful. And again, I know is a lot of computers is not just one guy originating all these lines, but I don't think you can do it for all these different sports and be thinking about it as thoroughly as I am, who is kind of devoting his life for 4 months to this process to find an edge. It's a little bit harder in the markets that Connor swims in terms of the player prop stuff. That's a little bit more popular in terms of like the offensive side, because people are coming over from the fantasy space. Hey, I love the matchup for Bucky Irvin this week. I don't care what his rushing yards are. I'm betting the over. He's in my fantasy lineup. He's going to propel me to a win this week. I'm jamming his over. I get it, and there are still opportunities and edges there as well. But going to a spot where really at this point, it sounds a little bit arrogant, but we can kind of control that market. Those lines move when I bet and our subscribers bet, and we find insane closing line value. Now, again, not every bet wins, but I feel pretty good about the process, and it's been profitable for 3 years.
Yeah, you can always get Noonan's tackle props and sack props, 4for4.com/Mayo. That's going to be up on 4for4 and in the Discord chat if you just want to talk about this with other people. I find that, Connor, that's actually one thing that started to help me out a little bit more. It's like, even just, I'm doing the show, so I am actively talking to people about bets that I might want to make rather than just being in a basement silo doing it myself. But having a community to discuss it with, to talk through not even just bets, but like the process of making bets. Hey, there's good stuff over here. There's good stuff over here. The market's here for this type of prop. Just stuff you're not going to find. Like no one's going to write an article on this. Someone may offhandedly mention it in a video or podcast, but having that community to help each other out, I do feel is very important when everyone's kind of ganging up to try to win in the betting space. And you can all win together. It's not fantasy football. It's not daily fantasy football. We're not going head to head here. We can play not necessarily as a team, but we can help each other out because we can all win at the same time.
Yeah, and books offer so many different derivatives of things. So like, I'll release a play and I don't know, whatever it is. And they'll be like, oh, actually, FanDuel has this play that's actually a random alt that's better odds that you just didn't see. Or like, would you play this alt over, as well, that's like hidden at this random book? And so people will chime in with all these different ways to bet things. And it's good. It just makes everyone better. And like you said, it's not peer-to-peer. It's everyone against the house. We're trying to take as much money as we can from the books. And so, yeah, I think that's the community aspect, I think, is massive. Plus it's fun. Like you like to sweat stuff with other people. Like I don't like, well, I mean, I guess I bet stuff by myself because I bet a lot of, sicko under stuff, but like, being in a community is awesome. Like, I think it's great to be like, oh, we bet, some rando quarterback under 170 yards and, he's got 60 yards at half. Like nothing feels better than rooting against a player and, him sucking. Like maybe I'm a total sicko for that. I know everyone loves the overs, but there's no better feeling for me than like watching Malik Willis throw for like 35 yards in a game. Like it's incredible.
The other way to spin this too is if you actually do want to make yourself as close to profitable as possible, there's only so much money you can get down on these props. It's not even that they'll cap you to like 12 cents. Maybe they will because you've won so many, or if you're constantly beating the line. But it's not like they're going to let you get down $3,000 on a over or under one of these like weird derivative side props. You can only get down so much. But I think that especially when you look at the betting community, when people are trying to follow advice, they're like, well, I couldn't get down $5,000 on this. It's like 99.8% of the people aren't trying to get $5,000 down on a game. They're trying to get like $25 down. And if you're that type of better, like $100 per bet and below, these weird off prop markets, if you only play those, don't worry about spreads, don't worry about totals or money lines. If you just play these, you will have the best chance to be profitable, in my opinion.
I mean, that's the easiest way to win. Like it's literally you bet niche markets. Someone was asking me, was like, what do you think about first quarter markets? I was like, absolutely, like blast them. That's great. Like there's no way that they're efficient. They're just taking like they have an algorithm subsection of whatever their actual prop is. They don't know that so-and-so player gets all the carries in the first quarter, but doesn't touch the ball in the second quarter or whatever. Like I think that those markets are very ripe. So yeah, just blast the random prop markets, take advantage of slow moving books. The amount of times that you'll see like a starting running back get injured and then the backups running backs lines are still hanging around for 5 minutes after the news breaks. Like if you have any kind of alerts on, if you're paying attention at all, like you can just go to that book and bet that backup's over and make, I mean, I'm not going to say free money, but you have a massive, massive, massive edge in those types of situations. And it doesn't matter because your bankroll is low and you're going to be able to build that pretty quick betting stuff like that.
And that's where the tackle props come into it. We experienced this in golf a lot, Noonan, where they would have this market where you bet a player to win, but they would also have a market with here's everyone to win by taking like anyone but Scotty Scheffler. Let's take him out of the market and reprice everyone. For like half the year, they didn't even reprice it. They just took out Scotty Scheffler and kept everyone's odds the same.
It was amazing. Yeah. It was Jeff and I would message very often on a Monday morning, either like right before you guys recorded, or maybe even while you were recording, or just trying to talk about bets or what's going on. And yeah, you gotta find any edge you can, right? We're trying to pull Scotty out to find an edge because we were basically burying ourselves betting outrights for a stretch there because it was inevitable. But you want to find anyone you can. So one of the things that's really important to us is, on the 4-4 side in Discord, we'll send an alert for subscribers to let them know that a play is coming, where the best one is, here's the best price, but then also the other books that it's out there at. So there are instances like I have the advantage. I know what the bet is when I'm pushing out a tackle prop, but I'm at the point where I can't bet a full stake on any of the books that I want to bet on. So I have to get partial, like I get as much as I can at the best number, but I have to kind of partially stake it at the worst prices to get as much down as I want on the bet. So being open to that too, and that's why we try to make it easier for you. Get yourself through your 2-factor authentication, get on there. No, I need to be able to fire, a little bit here and a little bit there. It's really important. You want to find any edge you can. There's a Sunday night or a Thursday night football week 1 Cowboys Eagles tackle bet that's out there right now. They are alone. There's only one book that has it right now. They have someone priced as if he is the starter. He is not the starter. And it's a big number, and I cannot wait to bet the under, but I'm desperately waiting for some other people to kind of get into the market. So these are edges that are out there. Again, if you can't kind of originate them yourself, we're happy to help.
And like what Connor said, like getting those push alerts. I mean, they're not paying me to do this. It's what I use. The Bleacher Nation fantasy app is the fastest app to get breaking news. Like it comes immediately. I was getting it before Schefter updates and Rappaport updates. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And just like instantly get on somewhere to try to get on. And they're not reporting fake news to you. Like I've never had it happen at any point where they've lied to me about it. And it's the fastest.
No, they don't get got. But yeah, take those, get alerts, whether it's through Bleacher Nation Fantasy or whatever, and then just be ready to fire away at books. There's no better opportunity. Again, it's the easiest way to make money in betting. Some people will poo-poo it. I saw some people on Twitter talking about it. Whatever. I don't care about those people. Go out there, get your bag, make some money. I mean, it happened last year. Week 1, Christian McCaffrey expected to play all season. Then what? Like 30 minutes before the game, 30 minutes before inactives come out, it's like, oh, he's actually not going to play. Mason props were out. It was like 17 yards.
Yeah, Mason. It was I was able to bet the over of 14.5 rushing yards.
Yep. Like he's the starter. He saw 20 carries. You can take 14.5. You should take up to 50 and a touchdown. That's where parlays are good. Compound your edge. Just parlay the shit out of everything. Just maximize what you can do there.
Yeah, and that's when you get there. And that sort of information really, it doesn't even happen once a week, I would say, because a lot of it happens earlier on in the week, and it probably pertains more to the spread and total versus anything else. Because if it happens on a Tuesday, the player props just simply aren't going to be populated yet.
Yeah, no, right, exactly. It's like there was the Mahomes game a little bit ago, where he like sat out on a random Monday against, I think it was the Eagles a couple of years ago. But yeah, it's like ideally the prop market's posted because that's the best way to maximize your edge. But otherwise, it's sides and totals market. So quarterbacks impact it the most. I think offensive linemen matter, corners matter, some receivers matter, running backs. I mean, they don't really matter to the spread that much. I think they can matter to teams. Like obviously, like Derrick Henry matters to the Ravens, etc. But like, yeah, that's just know what your information does and know what it matters. But if you got the alerts on, I mean, again, like you're saying, you're beating Shefty, sometimes beating Rapport, definitely beating all the other apps. So.
I was looking at what you were saying before, because this was something that stuck out to me when I was doing my initial like purge of week 1 and trying to really dig in. Because everyone likes Devin Achane. It looks like he's going to play week 1, and everyone loves him in the receiving market. And I was trying to figure out what the best way to play him was. And I'm not going to say that this is going to be a winner, but if you go to Underdog right now, you will see that his receiving yard total for the game is 31.5. And to piggyback on what Connor said earlier, sometimes if you just take a look at some of the different derivative markets, even on Underdog, code Mayo, by the way, get that triple bonus. Do you know what his first quarter receiving yards number is?
Oh man, it's probably, so it's definitely not just 31.5 divided by 4. That's for sure. So I would say maybe it's 9.5.
3.5.
3.5. Well, it's got to catch a ball.
Now part of that is we don't know who gets the ball first in this game. We don't know how. Sure. There are factors to it, but if they get one drive, in theory, he should be able to beat that number.
3.5.
I mean, that's like we're really, really careful sometimes about like particular markets. Like this is something that we've had a lot of experience stumbling into and really kind of stubbing our toe at times. You're like, man, especially it's like running back receiving lines or something that like every time we'll talk internally before we'll make a play and like, hey, what do you think about this? And it's just always like, man, they always look really, really good. But in this instance, we're talking about a number that looks really good. There seems to be some market sentiment that that's probably an approachable line that we should be considering. But then because it's a derivative of that, it seems to be priced poorly. Well, then I'm in because I feel like we naturally have an edge because I don't know how or where that's originated from. And these are the opportunities that you're talking about. We got to pick and choose and find them whenever we can and attack when they're available.
Yeah, so even to take a look at some of the other things, like when you're using the Sharp Stack app, Connor, like it'll give you basically a percentage of how often this bet is going to win. And very rarely do you see something up at like 65%. But this would be one of the ones where this seems off, and I'll run my numbers to try to figure it out, that every week there's going to be 3 or 4 of them that are just off. And listen, if you get 4 70% type winners. It's probably better to bet it individually. The want will be to parlay those together. But here's the thing. If you have 4 bets that win at a projected 70% of the time, and you now need all 4 of them to win, you're still not going to win very often.
No. And I think if you're going to do that, maybe round robin it. If you really want to get down to more action, you think that there's like the 70% type win. So, play all combinations of the parlay. That's what a round robin is. So I think that's like the other option of it. Now, again, but still at 70%, like you're going to probably lose that parlay. But yeah, it's better to play it all straight. And if you think there's a massive edge there, I think 70% is good. We had a random book post Christian McCaffrey at 12.5 receiving yards for the entire game. Yeah, I think ESPN did for like 30 minutes, an hour, basically. That's another, I don't know, 80%er maybe. His actual prop now came out to 30.5. So books make mistakes. Like it happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm looking at the underdog just percentage projections for week 1. Like the single best play on the slate right now in terms of percentage to win based off projections and probabilities, Noonan, is Russell Wilson under 1.5 passing touchdowns. That's a 64.8% winner. That's the best one right now.
Yeah, that's it. We got to find the opportunities to get down, and these are the tools that can kind of help do, like, they're supplemental to the things that you're doing. So I think you see these, all right, the book's telling me, or the tools telling me this is something that I need to attack. Do a little bit more of your own research if you don't want to like blindly tail any tool or any number or any person. But then again, the tool can help kind of push you down an avenue where you need to kind of start exploring. So yeah, in a game against the Commanders where, I think that there are some opportunities to attack that defense. Like, you just never know. Like, I don't expect the Giants offense to be moving up and down the field no matter who they're playing this year. So happy to build off of a Russell Wilson, and shorting Russell Wilson in general seems like probably a pretty good idea this year.
Yeah, which is funny because I actually like the Giants. I think their offense could be somewhat explosive, but I'm not going to live under the impression that I just know way better than the rest of the world seems to.
Correct. Defense is feisty for sure. But yeah, that's it too. That's a great piece, right? It's just like I know ball and this is my thing. Like, you might, and like I know we feel like we know ball, but at the same time, I want to be smart. I want to find edges. And if the math is telling me that there's an edge, I want to put my ball nowhere aside and explore the edges that the book is telling me or the tool is telling me is there for sure.
And even if we think we know ball, like every time we talk about a play and we're like, oh, like yesterday I played James Conner 15.5 carries week 1. I messaged Noonan, I messaged Jake, I messaged Hunter, like some guys in our Slack, and I was like, hey, walk me through this. Like, here's my thinking. Am I crazy? Like, what do you think about this? Like, because you can't just be an I know ball play. It has to be like, because the market's what the market is. Now it's not liquid, it's not sharp right now. So I think that there's still a massive edge, but I always double check. I like to make sure to pick other people's brains, because who am I to just be like, oh, I know better than every other person out there.
Well, let's talk about those edges then. We kind of just recap some of the markets where it is, but to put that into, if people just click to this time code as a part of the show. Hi, thanks for tuning into this part. Sub to the channel, smash the like, and check out all of the other content we got going on at Mayo Media Network right now. So I'd say the 3 biggest edges that we've discovered through this show is 1, actually being price sensitive and using the Sharp Stack tool. It just makes it easy for you. You can track it yourself. You just want to do that. But it means opening up 8 different apps, trying to remember, writing them down. Just having everything on a screen at the same time is probably for the best. So 4for4.com/Mayo, get yourself 25% off the annual on the Sharp Stack tool. And you can just get a free week. If you don't like it after the week, just cancel it or just use it for week 1. I don't really care. I think it will help you try to save money, because you can save basically up to 10 cents per bet, which is $10 per $100 bet. It mitigates your losses in that sense. And then, Connor, what you were saying, like the derivative markets, be it Noonan's tackle props, the first half props, I think if you stick to those only and you're not trying to think, well, I know ball, I know this point spread, let me bet onto it on a Sunday morning after every bit of value has been beat out of it, just stick to those markets that don't really change and no one's really paying attention to, then you actually can be profitable.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at one of the top bets right now being Bryson Washington rushing yards under between Auburn and Baylor. I don't know who that is. Like, straight up, I don't know who that is. But plus 114, the rest of the market's at minus 115. You're saving 30 cents, Pat. That's not even like 5 cents, 10 cents, 30 cents versus the rest of the market on this bet. That's telling you it's a good one. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways you can make money with this.
Yeah, and you can use the arb tool, Noonan, within the Sharp Stack system in order to just lock yourself in some profit. Now, you're not going to again be able to get down $2,500 on each side of those, but you can lock in any sort of profit that you want when you have something that's minus 110 and plus 120 on the other side. That's a pretty easy one. Oh, another thing too, I forgot to mention this. Hit the description at Splash Sports right now. We're doing a survivor pool, $50 to enter, $500,000 to the winner. We're all in it right now. Come play against us. It's going to be tons of fun. Link in the description. Just go to Splash Sports and check out the 4for4. But I'm not a big ARB guy because I like to feel like I really do know Noonan. But again, that's just another tool to lock it in price wise. Is there anything else recap of the markets that people should be trying to exploit rather than just saying, I know ball, I know better?
Yeah, any sort of derivative. I think having some sides and total action is fun. I get it, especially for the communal piece. And I think you did a great job of summarizing. It's just in fantasy, right? Like it's not a spot where you find 4for4 and it helps you with fantasy and you don't want to tell your boys about it at all because you feel like you have an edge that no one knows about. They're just, whatever platform they're playing on, that's where they get their information. And you found something that's a little bit unique and different. Their community piece is so important. Whether it's having a community to, it's firing off parlays with your boys and bouncing it off of people. We have, I think, something a little bit similar where we're talking through some bets and then the community to share it and sweat it with. This is really important. So again, finding some opportunities that I think are comfortable for you, but probably in the prop space and probably in something that's not as general public. Like if you were just betting, I'm not necessarily a big touchdown bet guy, but I'm not here to rain on anyone's parade. You want to get it down on that. I just feel like those are not properly priced very often, but finding something that's maybe a little bit different. So whether it's first half, second half, or props that are maybe a little bit more untouched than some of the popular ones, receiving yards, rushing yards, touchdowns, find some places where people aren't kind of spending a lot of their time researching.
Let's finish this off. I want to kind of go roundtable on this with myths, that things that people believe in the betting space that simply aren't true. So the topics I'll give you, Connor: reverse line movement, the weather, and let's start with those two, and trends. We'll put trends in there as well. Here's step one for weather. It's baked into the line.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with weather. I mean, this is like, so I used to write a weather column back.
I was gonna say former weather reporter here, Connor.
I am. Yeah, right. Like this is my origin. This is my origin story. I wrote a Roto World about a weather column. It was whatever writing I could get to get into space. So I did a lot of research, like NFL weather specifically. Rain basically doesn't matter unless it's a monsoon. Snow basically doesn't matter unless it's like crazy amount of snow. Wind only matters when there is consistent wind over 20 miles an hour with gusts like 25 to 30. That's when you see quarterbacks' yards per attempt drop by like one full yard per attempt. 15 to 20, a little bit. I mean, we're talking about like 0.2 historically, something like that. Anything less than 15, you're going to see people like, 13 mile per hour winds, 12 mile per hour winds. Historically, statistically, doesn't matter. So just ignore it.
How about trends and reverse line movement? You got to watch out for the reverse line movement. They know something, Noonan.
Yeah, trends are, in my opinion, kind of the worst. Like, I mean, football's tough anyway, right? We're dealing with small samples just naturally, right? When you have something like baseball or even golf, like, it's event by event, but it's really round by round and even shot by shot. So like when we have strokes gain data, yeah, you're going to have some noisy samples in there and a guy chips in from, 30 yards out and it's going to massively impact his, strokes gained around the green numbers. But over a larger sample, that's going to kind of flatten out. Like football naturally is like massively small sample. So really like leaning on trends as being a decision, or like, this team against this team is historically this, or like it's different coaches, it's different players. That stuff can be, just a disaster. Oh, I have to bang, Burrow over passing yards because he's done it for the last 5 times against the Browns. It's like, well, what were the game states? Like, what did the Browns look like at that time? Were they healthy defensively? Like, it really doesn't matter almost at all. It's a like justification to kind of fill content to build your bet around that, like someone has to kind of like shape and package for you to be able to get your buy-in on the bet. It shouldn't be any part of your research, in my opinion. Very, very, very noisy. So yeah, trends is like, it's not that I kind of cross you off right away, but if I read your reasoning for a bet is because that happened, like it could be a piece of it, there could be a part of it if you do a little bit more research. But if it's just blindly like the foundation of how you start to do your research is looking at trends and past performance, I think you're going to miss me a little bit there. And you're probably going to find that it's not something that you're getting an edge off of.
Connor, last thing that we're going to talk about. Noonan and I are going to clear out to let you talk about why you should only be betting unders.
Oh man, what a time to be alive. I mean, this is great. All right. So we'll start with the season-long aspect here on unders. There are so many outs for an under. Think about your betting. We actually came on the show about, I don't know, a month ago and talked about Breece Hall's under or less than it was like 900.5. There are outs for maybe Braylon Allen playing more. There are outs for injury. There are outs for him getting traded to a team where he doesn't have a bigger role. There are outs for the Jets potentially just sucking and just being an awful team, which I think is more likely than not at this point. Maybe the offensive line isn't good. Maybe Justin Fields can't move the ball and they can't sustain drives. I just named like 9 things off the top of my head that could go wrong. I'm sure there's 10 more that, I didn't think of right there. Breece Hall's, I mean, now it's looking like Braylon Allen is going to be like a 1B to Breece Hall's 1A. And so like maybe Breece sees way more receiving work and not as much early down work. His prop was 925 when we got it, 900.5. So there's so many outs. And if he gets injured, all he has to do is play one snap. That's one of the biggest ones. So he plays, gets injured, you win the bet. And on a week-to-week basis, the same thing applies. Like there are so many more outs for an under to hit, and you're betting against human performance. Like for an over to hit, this player has to be good. They have to perform well in the game. Yeah, sure, they can luck box into an over randomly occasionally if a corner trips or something like that. But generally speaking, unders are the way to go. They have a higher hit rate overall. And so I'm not going to say to blindly bet unders, but give yourself a little extra edge. Give yourself a little extra boost there. Get used to betting unders. Be comfortable. Enjoy it. That's what I like. I tell people, find ways to enjoy it because no one likes it. But just find ways to enjoy it. It's fun betting against bad players.
It's tough because, and I know this as someone who bets unders, Noonan, you feel so stupid when you lose your under within 5 minutes of a game that you just never want to do it again. But you just got to take the lumps.
It happens, right? Like, we have that in our Discord community where, if Connor happens to have, and some of these are like, I don't know, receiver under 9.5 receiving yards or something like that. And he catches a 10-yard ball in the first drive. Like, they're not happy.
And then ends up with 10 yards the entire game.
Yes.
And it happens. Yeah. And I know Connor could probably pull 3 or 4 off the top of his head that those have happened for sure. But I've come around a little bit more. I'm kind of a fish like the rest of us. I like looking for the overs. I'm a positive guy in life. I like to root for people and cheer for people. I want good things to happen. I think just naturally we're thinking about how this game is going to go. And oftentimes it's like, who's going to perform well in that game. I think that correlates with looking into the over markets. To Connor's point, I mean, last year, I think he was like flat, maybe a little profitable on overs, but I think he had like 66.5% on his unders. So he's definitely has something here that is working. I'm not blindly betting, but thinking thoughtfully through, maybe situations again where you like the under naturally. And then you have kind of just the built-in outs in terms of performance, systemic performance. You have the other team that just doesn't give the ball back to the other side very often, dominates time of possession, just a lot of different things that can happen in the flow of a football game that can, kind of just mitigate player performance. And again, it is winning until it's not. That's a different piece, right? Where the game starts, you get cheering for an over. This performance that you've bet on has to happen. Well, nothing needs to happen yet until someone goes over. So you've already won. You're winning pre-flop, and that feels pretty good. That's the only case that I can make of trying to increase my unders this year. Is that hey, the game starts. That guy is already under 8.5 tackles because he has none yet. He's not been on the field. So just trying to be open a little bit more. And again, it's hard to argue with Connor's success there.
And to think about it a little bit more is that even with the season-long total that Connor was talking about as it pertains to unders, the same thing is in a game-to-game situation, it's exactly the same. They get hurt on the first play. They fumble and get benched on the third play of the game. Someone else just gets a hot hand, and that's where they go. There's a matchup that's far more exploitable with a lesser player than Justin Jefferson. They want to throw to Jordan Addison on the other side of the field because that matchup is just so juicy. There's so many different ways for an under to come through. And, I mean, I don't think I'm crazy to think this, Connor, that they do juice up the number on the overs because people like to bet overs.
Yeah, I mean, these markets move with action. Like everyone's betting overs. Like it's like you see the most bet stuff every week. It's like 96% over on Dak Prescott passing yards. I bet it's going to be a popular one. Saquon Barkley rushing yards. And it just keeps going up. It's like a one-way train generally. It's going up and up and up on the star players specifically. lesser players, maybe not, but generally star players. Yeah, it's going to keep moving up basically throughout the week probably. And then if you want to buy back later, I wouldn't blame you. I think it's the right move on the under,
Yeah, well, that's actually a pretty interesting thing, and you can use Sharp Stack. I'm guessing I haven't used it yet with the ARB tool. Noonan, is that, let's say early in the week you identify, we just look at the 4-for-4 projections and look at some of the numbers of the props that get released. If there's one projection that's 25 yards above whatever the player yardage total is going to be, you can almost assuredly know that number is going to rise throughout the week. That depending on the amount of money that you can get down on that initial number, that you just play over 44.5 yards and then just wait until Sunday when it's 57.5 and bet the under on it.
Yeah, lovely place to be. Get the middle. You can win both bets for sure. There are opportunities to do that all the time. And to Connor's point, I think it does happen more often on the stars. So it's those really popular markets that are intuitively making us think about fantasy. I think about that as being a large swath of our prop betting community. And then at the same time, like something that we've started to do a little bit more when there's a one of these type of stars, right? We referenced maybe it's CD Lamb, right? In week 1 against the Eagles. If you like CD Lamb to have a ceiling outcome, right? It's like 75.5 receiving yards or whatever it is. Look at the derivatives there too. If you think he's going to have a great game, when you're betting into some of these stars and some of these bigger numbers that are close, like the prop lines, they get close to 100 yards, right? Whether that's alpha wide receiver ones or your, big time 20 plus yard or 20 plus carry running backs. Think about the ceiling outcomes. So if you think that that's going to happen, we've been doing it a little bit more. Let's just stay off of the binary -110 stuff. Let's start to look at some of the alts. If I think that CeeDee Lamb is going to have a game because Dak's going to have to throw a ton, well, why am I going to mess around with 75.5? Let me look into what's 90 plus or 100 plus priced at. Because I feel like, very often part of what needs to happen in those scenarios is you need to have ceiling outcomes. So let's bet on that instead of just kind of the binary 75.5 instead, to try to really bank and make some money off of what you think is going to be happening for the stars. Because those aren't going to be priced at the same kind of like trend line that the binary over-under prop is going to be priced at.
To look at week 1 and the opening game of what you're saying, now a lot of this is the Micah Parsons news, but if you did want to figure out both sides of it, I think Saquon Barkley's number opened at 90.5 rushing yards. It's already up to 95.5 rushing yards for the over-under, Connor. I bet you by Thursday that's like 101.5.
It's going to clear 100. It definitely is going to clear 100. I mean, I can't. See, that's the thing is I don't know if I could play the under on this one. Like this is
but you don't have you don't have to play everything. Like I just to look at one. I'm with you. Like I look at that. I'm like, man, he's definitely going over that number. I don't know if I would bet that, but like in my mind, that's where I would lean. But unless I feel really good about it, there are certain players, especially big type players. Like the number I would probably go with, weirdly enough, is the under 11.5 receiving yards.
Nice. I mean, that could make sense because how much are they going to throw the ball? Like they're just going to jam Saquon 25 times and probably try and get out of there unless they fall behind. But even then, it's like he doesn't catch that many passes from Hurts because Hurts. He has so many other weapons too. So yeah, that's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah, that would be, I don't know if I'm going to play that, but that's where my mind went. Like, hey, if the Eagles are such big favorites in this game, Barkley doesn't catch a lot of passes anyway, so you just have to avoid like the one catch that he gets that he makes the guy miss in open space and he's just gone. But he drops a ton of passes too. We saw them lose games. We saw them lose to the Falcons because Barkley can't catch. So that's always an out that you have to go with too. Or if you're a new user, use code Mayo at Underdog. You get that deposit bonus. The $5 entry gets you $50. Plus the actual easy one right now is if Saquon gets more than half a yard rushing, you win. So I would try to take advantage of that. And again, to round it back to the beginning, taking advantage of those bonuses are so key. Saving money on the lines is so key of how not to lose all your money on betting on NFL this year. Make it fun for yourself. I mean, if you break even at the end of the year, you got 48 hours of 100 hours of entertainment for free that you got a legitimate sweat on. We're going to try to help you win, but mainly we're going to try to make sure that you don't have to redeposit as the season goes along, especially if you're taking this as an entertainment expense. So the best way to do that, 4for4.com/Mayo, get 25% off the Sharp Stack tool. You'll get a free week along with that to test it out. If you don't like it, not for you, no big deal. Cancel anytime that you want, and you'll be okay, all right? I'm Pat Mayo. Smash the like on the way out. We got football content coming every day of the week for all 18 weeks and into the playoffs, all right? I'll see you next time.
Mayo experience. experience.